Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today for our webinar, Dynamics GP to D365 Business Central Migration Office Hours. My name is Katie and I'll be the facilitator today. If you have any questions during the presentation, please type them into the question area in the control panel on the right-hand side of your screen and we'll answer questions at the end. The session will be recorded and posted on our blog as well as shared with you later this week. Now, I would like to introduce our presenter today, Tracey Santos, the practice lead of our account management team here at Encore. Tracey, I'll pass it over to you.
Thank you so much, Katie, and welcome to our second installment of our migration office hours. I'm in the Lower Mainland, so in Western Canada, and for any of you that live in the area, we had a cyclone bomb last night, and so in my area, from 8 o'clock last night till 8 o'clock this morning, there was no power. And there are lots of places in the Lower Mainland and on Vancouver Island that still don't have power. So I'm very thankful that my power was restored and I was able to participate in this webinar. So again, hoping everyone's having a great day, and I will get started. So today we're going to talk about a migration, and in a nutshell, how long does it take? Preparing for it, what opportunities it creates, what things you should be aware of, and then we're going to talk about just some reminders, kind of recapping what we did in the couple of previous webinars about your options for transitioning. So let's get started. How long does it take to transition to Dynamics 365 Business Central? Well, a transition from Dynamics GP to Dynamics 365 Business Central takes between 3 months and a year. So depending on the size and complexity of your project. Project size is broadly defined by the number of modules used, as well as factors such as complexity of your business processes, volume of data, and any third-party or ISV add-on products. Here's an overview of what a small, medium, or large project usually includes. So a small project typically takes 3 to 5 months, a medium project takes typically 4 to 6 months, and a large project can take 6 to 9 months or 6 to 12 months. These size classifications are general guides, and there are other factors that can impact a project, resulting in a change to its classification. For instance, some companies needing the jobs module or project management have a level of complexity that means their project is categorized as large. But other companies needing the same module with less complexity might have a medium project. So again, also we need to take in consideration it's your choice. Are you going to do a migration or fresh start? So for example, if you've been on GP for a long time and your business processes have changed, maybe you've opened up into different markets, you have different lines of business, you might decide that you don't want to take forward the existing footprint of Dynamics GP into Business Central, and you want to do a fresh start. So start all over, start from scratch. So again, that will obviously impact the amount of time and effort it's going to take. So again, just emphasizing the factors that can affect the migration time, project size, so again, number of modules used, complexity of the business, and volume of data. Data quality, if the data is messy or outdated, it may need to be cleaned and organized before migration. And this also gives you the chance to look at that and say, do I need to bring all that history over? Or, is it cause some frustration, the master record IDs, we don't really like them, or the way that we've structured our fixed assets, or the way that we've named our inventory, we want to change that. So it's a great opportunity to look at your data and see what refresh can be done. Customization, so again, the level of customizations that you have and are they needed going forward. So keep in mind, the more effort your team puts into the project, the greater the cadence. So again, we want to give the whole team the responsibility of being involved. Again, the more effort they put into it. And again, we look at the learning opportunities. There's nothing stopping you from learning about Business Central now today. We've got great videos out there. There's Microsoft Learn, lots of opportunity to get training ahead of time so that we can understand. There's even a series of videos that show you how you do something in Dynamics GP and how you would do that in Business Central. So again, I don't want us to think that, when you went on to GP and the timeline and the complexity of putting that application in, we're looking for a faster uptake on moving to Business Central because, again, we're using the tools that they're already familiar with. All of that, those Microsoft, the fundamentals of it, the foundation of it is permeates again from GP into Business Central. And a lot of the great things that we like about in GP, you're going to see those in Business Central as well. So again, just gives you a recap, talks about what modules in small, medium, large. And again, we want to have those conversations. So again, reach out to your account manager so you can have those conversations about your project and what it's going to look like. So preparation, how to prepare for transitioning to Dynamics 365 Business Central. So there's many steps. I've just mentioned 4 of them. So there's 4 important steps you can take to prepare for transitioning to Dynamics GP, from Dynamics GP to Dynamics 365 Business Central. So again, it's a good time to document your processes. This may identify inefficiencies with your current procedures and processes, and that will help clarify the strategic intent of your project. So again, we look at it and we say, okay, our current state, our desired state, what's the impact and measurement or the metric that we're going to have for that. So for example, right now, if we're doing a lot of manual approvals or there's a lot of paper being passed around in the office, that process, we know that today we have technology that can really automate that process. And so what is the cost saving to you as a business? Not to mention the employee satisfaction. We want to increase employee satisfaction from using these applications. So that's really important. So reviewing your data, we talked a little bit about that on the previous slide. Close inactive records, merge duplicates, and verify subledgers are in balance to the GL. So again, we want to make sure everything's nice and clean and ready to go. Then we want to go ahead and make a wish list. Are there features in Business Central or of the whole entire Microsoft stack that you want to explore? So remember, when we're moving to Business Central, it's not just Business Central in itself, but the entire Microsoft stack, that whole interoperability of all those applications, and we want to be able to leverage the power of that. It's going to increase our efficiency, we're going to be more productive, and our talent that we've attracted is going to stay because we are using state-of-the-art cloud technologies. Consider your pain points. What are the recurring problem areas in your business processes? Are there some manual processes that could be automated? So we really want to make sure we're talking about that. So again, what things that you're like, gee, if I could just do that better, let's make sure that we're aware of those and we can work together as a team and make that happen. This slide's about opportunities. So migrating from Dynamics GP to Dynamics 365 Business Central involves several challenges that businesses need to be aware of. So we talked about the data migration, talked about customization and integration. So integration, we want to make sure that sometimes when people look at the application, they say, okay, we're going to, GP, it's our business application, and we think about that. Sometimes we forget about all the different data points that we might have integrated into GP. So we want to make sure that we've included all of them. Or maybe there's some new areas of legacy systems or systems outside of the core ERP that we do want to integrate. So again, we want to be able to look at that. So we look forward to sharing the ROI and TCO data to assist you in building your business case for this project. So again, these are reports and tools that we have to share it with you. I just put a screenshot in there. So this is the TEI study for the ROI or return on investment for migrating from GP to Business Central. They interviewed and surveyed 160 different accounts of clients that moved from GP to Business Central. So again, this is a high-level snapshot of the types of value streams that those clients took advantage of. So addressing these challenges with a well-thought-out migration plan and leveraging expert guidance can help ensure a smoother transition. So if you have any specific concerns or need further details, feel free to ask. And I think I forgot one of my points there. I did. About involving your team, and we're going to talk about this in the next slide as well, is the people that have been using Dynamics GP, they're the SMEs, the subject matter experts. They're the ones that have evolved it to where it is today. So again, we want to make sure that we're getting input from them. What are their concerns? What do they see it, their pain points are? So we want to make sure that we involve not just IT or not just finance, but everyone who might be touching the applications going forward. What's important to them? So we want to make sure we involve them. Things to be aware of. So again, done this many, many times. That's why you're working with us. Started doing this 6 years ago, but things that we want you to be aware of. Um, uh, One of our previous team members used to always have that saying, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday, right? So why not let's do it today or tomorrow? That's the next best time. So again, even though we might not be ready to migrate tomorrow to Business Central, we want to make sure that we're having those conversations, and we want to have awareness and be prepared and plan that out. Again, we've had the announcement about Dynamics GP. We want to make sure that we're not waiting till the very end to make our decision. Now is the time to plan. So again, always want to make sure that you provide enough time for planning. So we don't want to have inadequate planning. So again, failing to thoroughly plan the migration process can lead to unexpected issues. So again, we want to make sure, and that's why, when we're working with you in our partnership, we're going to have timelines, resource allocations, and risk management to make sure that we have a successful project at the end of the day, according to the business value that you want to receive from that project. Something to be aware of as well, we talked about data quality. Again, we don't want to be bringing the data over in a state that's not going to be working with the way that we want to work with. And that's, again, mentioning what we talked about a couple of webinars ago, is we have tools that bring over the history of GP. And so you can still be able to look at your new data in Business Central as well as the GP data that we bring over. But again, we don't want to bring over, we want to clean up that data before we bring it over. We talked about user training. So again, making sure that we want to have good employee retention. We want to make sure that they don't feel like they were just thrown to the wolves and using this new application. We want to make sure that we have that. So they need to be adequately trained, and we want to make sure that there is a smooth transition. So lack of training can lead to decreased productivity and user frustration. The transition to a new user interface and workflows requires time for users to familiarize themselves and become proficient. So make your team part of the process. We want them to take ownership of the system and increase productivity and employee satisfaction. Integration, we talked about. Testing. So again, when we have customization or configuration and integrations, we want to make sure that we adequately test things. We don't want to be going live in the system and then realizing that we didn't test out something. Your application map, again, is what is the footprint of GP? What are all the different add-ons or customizations or integrations that we're currently have or that are on our wish list? So we want to be aware of those things. So there's just some of the things to be aware of. And we don't want to set the expectation that it's going to happen, in 2 weeks. We want to make sure that people do testing. I've just been involved in a project where we have to test things out. And again, this is the thing that people don't want to do. But by testing, things come out that you're like, oh, that isn't working exactly how I thought it would work. And then you're aware of that, and you're not going to go live and go, oh my gosh, that's not working the way it needs to work. So again, want to be aware of those things. So that's important. Just touching back on some of the slides that we did before, which is the support lifecycle. So please be aware of those dates. And I know sometimes it might appear, feel like that date's a long way away, but we're almost at 2025. So I want us to be able to start again. Let's plant that tree today or tomorrow. Let's get on that. Some of the offers and promotions, so we've gone over this before. You've got a complimentary Business Central migration assessment, and I highly encourage you to take advantage of that. Bridge to the Cloud 2 promo allows us to have dual use rights. So again, we can have Business Central licensing as well as our GP licensing, so that is there. I should be reading my notes. The Business Central migration assessment is complimentary, so I just want to make sure that I did I say complimentary? Put that in there. We talked about Bridge to the Cloud too. Deployment offer as well helps you with your funding for professional services for putting doing the implementation of the project. And then we also have Encore's exclusive accelerator program is a scaled down implementation for BC for clients with core finance requirements. So if you're in kind of that small group there where you're just using, say, GL and AP, something like that, there is that core accelerator program. So that's just reviewing what we talked about the last couple of times we got together. I always like to speak to this because we're in this together. We're your partner. We want to, again, encourage Dynamics GP customers, no matter where they are in the world and who their partner is, that we've been doing this for a very, very long time, and that's our business, and we want to make sure that you're receiving value and from this transition. So again, we're dedicated to your business success. Again, the last session we talked about is like GP isn't a technology platform that's going to align with your business going forward. You've got strategic objectives, whether it is to increase revenue, reduce costs, provide the best to your members. If you're not for profit, provide the best to your cause what business you're in. Whatever is your strategic objective, we want to make sure that that technology aligns with that. And we don't want you to keep putting effort and band-aids into this on-prem solution. That cloud solutions, that's where our technology is moving to. Just like when we had the old Motorola brick phones, today we have basically smartphones that are mini computers. And again, we don't want to keep aligning ourselves with that technology that's not going to move us forward. And again, we've been migrating our clients over the past 6 years, and we're all our focus is on how to make this as seamless for you and a true journey and adventure, and all of the value you're going to get out of that. We're going to be sharing out more information about the TEI study, so the Total Economic Impact study of those 160 GP customers that went to Business Central. We'll be sharing more of that information. But again, that's that snapshot there, showing that the improvement to staff productivity, avoiding the third-party fees, support of the previous solutions, and sales efficiency and profitability there. So again, as far as the revenue perspective goes. Again, some quotes from clients who have gone ahead and experienced that transition. So Eric and Maria. I love Maria's quotes. Again, this is a client who, wasn't quite sure much like you. It's like, oh, okay, what's this going to be like? And we want to be able to share out that information with you about their positive experience. So Katie, we are at the question component of the presentation.
All right, thanks, Tracy. And again, if anyone does have any questions, please enter them into the question area in the control panel. The first one I have here, Tracy, is if you could just speak a bit more about how integrations are handled in a migration.
Yeah, absolutely. Most of the technologies that you were using in the past to integrate into Dynamics GP, some of you were using Integration Manager, some of you are using Smart Connect, and various other things. There's lots of tools that were used to integrate. We look at those, evaluate them, and find out, if it's something very simple. So for example, with Business Central, we can take information just from a spreadsheet and push a button and it comes into Business Central. So again, we're looking at those integrations and saying, great, do you want them to be live? Making sure we're recommending the best technologies for them. Business Central does leverage, for example, you can still leverage Smart Connect with Business Central, but looking at those integrations and seeing, are they still required? Maybe there are other APIs that we should be leveraging to connect those applications. But good question.
So next one here is, if you're currently using Management Reporter for your reports, what tool is used with Business Central?
Great question. Much like Dynamics GP, we had lots of choices for financial reporting. So when we talk about our boardroom ready financial statements, Business Central has its own report writing tool right out of the box. And again, typically we start with that to see if that's going to make sense. There's Excel sheets, which also provide financial statements. And there's also a report writing tool out of Business Central. For clients who have requirements outside of that, we have a variety of different applications, financial reporting solutions for Business Central, one of them being Jet Reports, so you might be familiar with that because you used it in GP, but we have a variety of go-tos, and based on what your requirements are, we would then align you with our recommendation on what's the best solution for you.
Tracey. Next up here is what happens to our old servers after we migrate.
Great question. All depends on what you've got on them. We want to first consider that we make sure we've moved all the workloads off of that server. Again, can we redeploy it somewhere else? Is it needed somewhere else within the business? But as far as the hardware goes, it's probably going to be recycled unless it's needed somewhere else in the business.
Thank you. So next up, I have here is, and you spoke about this briefly, but what can we do now to start prepping for the migration?
Great. We do have a program that basically walks you through some of the things that are things that you can work on today as we plan moving forward. Obviously, the Business Central Migration Assessment is one of them. We've got lots of online learning classes, videos, content that you can consume. And again, when you look at what the project's going to look like and you say, okay, great, the first step is doing this. Okay, so we want to be able to go through and write out our current business processes, get you doing that. Your application map, what does that look like? So there's a whole host of things that we can provide guidance with you on before you actually even start the project.
Awesome. Next one here is what costs are involved for small enterprise use of Business Central?
So cost, I'm thinking the question is something about licensing. So again, all the licensing costs are on our website. With Business Central, there's 3 different types of licenses. There's Essential, Premium, and Teams. So again, depending on what you need, there are named users. So when we think about GP, it was concurrent users. So you have to think about, great, how many people need to use GP and hence use Business Central going forward? And what is their purpose? Is it read only with some writing capability? Do they need to, is it full on write? And then the difference between the essentials and premium is if you're going to use advanced warehousing and manufacturing. So again, in the essentials license covers a whole host of functionality within Business Central, but if you need that extra, then it would be premium licensing. I think that's what the question's asking of costs, the licensing costs, but that's all you need for the software. Obviously, the implementation we would go through with you and build out a letter of engagement that would cover what the implementation would cover for that. But again, we've got some of our smaller accelerator clients that it's very easy to use a calculator to see the cost of the implementation of that. And that's part of it is helping, oops, went too fast, helping you build your business case. So by getting that TCO and that ROI, will build your business case to be able to go to the decision makers in your company to be able to say, great, we're going to save, $75,000 over the next 3 years by moving to Business Central. So again, that's what you want to do is be able to build that business case out for you, and we help you do that. I hope that answered that question, Katie.
Great, thanks, Tracey. And I can share, we have an article on our blog that covers licensing and pricing, so I can share that
Great.
as well in the follow-up email.
Awesome.
Right,
I want to say 70 US for business essentials license, and I think it's 95 Canadian, but I don't want to be quoted on that. I'm not sure. And your enhancement goes away. There's no more paying enhancement.
Great. So I don't see any other questions that have come
Okay.
in.
All right.
So in the meantime, Oh, I'll let you go over the
Yeah,
next
I'll
slide.
just
I'm
wrap
so
up.
sorry.
Again, start planning your migration today, connect with your account manager to book your complimentary assessment, and check out all the great content on our channel and our blogs.
Great, so I will add a link to our events page in the chat if anyone would like to check out previous webinars or register for upcoming sessions. We do have one more office hour session happening before the end of this year. That one is going to cover the difference in total cost of ownership between GP and Business Central. You can register for that on our website. I'm also going to add a link where you can set your email preferences and opt into our emails so that you can stay in the know about upcoming events and see our latest blog articles. All right, so thank you, Tracy, for the information today, and thank you everyone for joining us.
Thank you. Everyone have a great day. Take care.